Hi there, I'm Scott Telek, author of the Swithen series of Arthurian novels, and in this video I'm going to give you a little introduction to the series and what it's all about. The Swithen is a deluxe retelling of the real Arthurian legend over 25 books. 5 of these books are out right now, and the other 20 are planned right to the end. As far as I know, this is the only book series committed to telling the real Arthurian legend in its entirety. Now, when I say real Arthurian legend, what I mean is the stuff that was actually written in the medieval period. In this case, from 1136, when the first narrative of King Arthur came out, to 1485, when Sir Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur appears. Now, the rule of my series is that I cannot change anything about the actual Arthurian legend. I can only add or enhance scenes or characters, but anything I do add has to slot seamlessly into the existing legend without changing it. And the reason for that is that so much of the King Arthur stuff we see gets so far away from the actual medieval legend that it loses what makes it so special and magical in the first place. As a result, much as we may think we know the legend of King Arthur inside and out, most of us don't know what's in the actual legend much at all. This is most of the medieval King Arthur writing that's out there. And this is the King Arthur story that's come down to us through history. Now, the reason this happened is that the real legend is just so huge and so weird that it just doesn't pare down into a single book or a movie or even a whole TV series. So about 10 years ago, I started investigating the Arthurian legend, and like most people who really start delving into it, I got obsessed. And I started to think it could make a really cool book series that would put back all the connecting material and make it all into one cohesive saga. And I realized that in order to do that, these stories need to be longer, not shorter. What we have are a bunch of incredible stories that all add up to one massive intertwined drama that takes place over about 70 years. And each of those stories has to have enough space so that the whole thing can gain the scope and majesty it deserves. So we start with the birth of Merlin, and we see how Merlin grows up and brings about the birth of Arthur, and then we see Arthur grow up, and then we see him pull the sword from the stone. And in the future we'll see Arthur marry Guinevere and establish Camelot and the Round Table, and we'll have all the knights of the Round Table and their adventures, and we'll have the affair between Guinevere and Lancelot and all the romance that comes in with that, and then after that we have the quest for the Holy Grail. And then all of it winds up into the massive conclusion that brings the whole society down. So how my books are different is I'm really focused on making these characters into real people and not just blank heroic archetypes like we see in so much King Arthur stuff. So it's not all nobility and heroism. They all have real flaws and make bad mistakes. They also have fun every now and then. Another thing about my series is that people don't speak like, "Fie on thee, foul enchantress." And that bugs some people that are used to that, but my goal here is to help us really understand these characters and their emotions. So I use more relatable language that helps us understand what they're going through. Also in my series, it's really important to me that the women are given equal prominence to the men. Some of the women that are barely developed in the real legend, like Merlin's mother or Arthur's foster mother, are fully developed, fleshed out characters who drive the story just as much as anyone else. One big thing that's different about my series is that the ending is in place right now and everything in the books is building steadily toward it. So it's not going to be any of that making it up as we go along as we see in some other fantasy series. I have a big spreadsheet with all the books here and all the characters here, and it lays out the arc of each one and where they are at each point in the series. So in this way you can know that it is all building to something, and a seed planted in book 4 will pay off in book 25. It's not for everyone, but luckily for me, the people that are into it are really into it. And they say things like, it's the best telling of these stories I've encountered in any medium. And also, I've read everything Arthurian I could get my hands on, and this is certainly the best in years. Another person said it makes the Arthurian legend readable and relatable for us, which is great because that's exactly what I want to do. And that's the series. So if you're looking to take a deep dive into a book series that's really just one long, interwoven, continuous saga that also tells one of the greatest stories ever told, you can discover the actual legend of King Arthur through this book series.